Hi there, this is Steve Spurrier. You can join University of Florida Hall of Famer Shane Matthews and also the two-time SEC Player of the Year every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, opinions, and some of the biggest names in sports. You can find him on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Or you can watch him live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter.
Good morning. It's Friday. We made it to Friday, folks, and it is PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Got a good show lined up. We'll have JC here in a second. Then we're going to have Matt Murschel, national college football writer for the Orlando Sentinel, get his thoughts about what's going on around the world. If you missed it yesterday or last night, the Patriots defeat the Steelers 21-18 in the National Football League. John Rahm is now a member of Live Golf, over $500 million. $500 million. And then the portal continues to be a disaster for college football around the country. JC, you're on the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. What's shaking?
Well, I've been battling this strep throat that I caught in Atlanta. I'm almost positive.
Were you drinking after people, kissing on all the Alabama loyal fans, or what?
Yeah, no, the Alabama fan contingent was quite close. I'm sure that in some crowd, I was around a lot of people. That fanfare was insane. You were there, you saw it. But
I didn't get sick.
No, you didn't. But I did. I did. It's about a 7-day deal, but I feel a lot better than I did. That's why I missed on Wednesday. Sorry about that. I felt bad, but I couldn't talk. So it's a pretty nasty thing to get. It's hard to swallow, and you get a fever, and your ear hurts. It's just absolute hell. But I'm fighting it. I'm battling it, QB. Just like tomorrow, we will have what I consider the game that signifies the end of the college football regular season, when Army and Navy will play. I'm wearing the Army hat, but my good close friend, that's because of my family. They are all Army people. But my good close personal friend, Joe, is a Navy grad, so I got to wear the hat for him too. I really think that when you see this game, if you've ever been, and I would recommend you go once in your life, you don't see a hated rivalry. What you see is a bunch of service people, and they get together and they tell stories, and it's a big reunion. And then when the game starts, they go on one side, and the others go on the other side, and everybody starts rooting for their schools and their academies. And then after the game, they sing their songs, and they all go home and they hug each other. It's incredible. And the amazing thing about the Army-Navy game is that every single player that is on that field, this is the only game where you can say that every single player on that field would lay down his life for the fans watching. And that is the rarest thing of things, because I don't think you say that about any other game. But these guys,
you think any of those guys will worry about their NIL transfer portal?
No.
Has any? No. That's a great question.
Okay.
Could an Army? I know they have to do their service and stuff, but could it? Let's say Army has this stud tailback.
Yeah.
Now they're usually undersized, but let's just hypothetically talk. Could an Army football player or Navy player go in the portal?
I don't know the answer. Don't know the answer. I just simply don't know. I just know they have commitments. They honor those commitments, and then after that's done, they can come back and play. Roger Staubach did it. A couple others did it. But it's a tremendous event, obviously. And this year they're playing it in a very strange place, Foxborough, Massachusetts, and I guess it's about who bid for it. But to me and to most people, including my friends,
that's why I was offered Army Navy tickets, because nobody really wants to go to it in Foxborough.
Right. Yeah, well, Foxborough is a dumpy little town south of Boston and offers zero. But the game is typically in Philadelphia, and in Philadelphia is where it belongs. It historically has always been there. They've also played in Baltimore. And believe it or not, back in the early 80s, when football was a disaster in my world, they played it in Pasadena, California once. So I don't know why, but it's interesting. My friend got rid of his tickets, my Navy guy. So
I know he offered them to me.
He did. Yes, on the plane. Yeah,
I was like, I'll take them if I ever decide to go when it's in Philly. That's the only, or maybe Baltimore. That's the only place I want to go watch.
Either one of those is great. Now, Baltimore's generally it's essentially a home game for Navy, even though the Army folks come down. But Annapolis and Baltimore are very close, right? So they've also played at QB in New Jersey at the Meadowlands. They've also played it there, but it should be in Philadelphia. That's where most people want it to be. That's where everybody knows where the bars are and so forth. So while that's going on, you've got schools around America, including the University of Florida, all trying to matriculate through this transfer portal, who's coming, who's leaving, and so forth. And we had some news yesterday of Trevor Etienne heading out, on his way out. Did you hear where he's going, or do you know, or is it just rumored?
Yeah, I mean, who knows where he's going to go? I know everybody's upset about it. I get it. I understand there's a ton of guys in the portal. Look, you can sit here and complain about it.
Yeah.
You can sit here and bitch about Billy. You can bitch about Scott Strickland, whatever you want to do. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do about it. So that's my approach. There's no reason for people to put it all over Twitter. I mean, it is what it is. Having said that, JC,
yeah,
your squad, just listen to this.
My squad.
The wide receiving core from the 2020 and 2021 recruiting classes for Alabama have all transferred.
Have all transferred.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Trayshawn Holden, Javon Baker, Jones Bell, Brooks, I.G. Hall, JoJo Earl, Christian Leary, Ja'Cory Brooks. So, look, Florida lost a very good football player, but it's a running back. And I don't want to demean the position, but you have to look at it just like the National Football League does.
Well,
I mean, he's a very good player. Don't get me wrong.
No, he is.
Would you trade him for a couple of linemen? Absolutely, you would. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. I saw that yesterday. The entire wide receiving groups from 2020 and 2021 for Alabama have all transferred out.
Right. Well, but to save his credit, he found very capable guys to come in and play. Most notably, I think Isaiah Bond. But the funny thing about the running back situation is I'm kind of on your side with that. We talked about this before, the importance of, Alabama played without their best running back against Georgia, and they just inserted, Jam Miller and Roy Dell Williams, and there you go, you're off. But Chase McClellan didn't play. He'll be back for the Rose Bowl, but he didn't play in the game. So you can I think, replace that easier than maybe some other guys. But Florida's need, I think we all know what Florida's needs are. You guys have beat this into the ground. It's up front on both sides of the line of scrimmage. They have to get better on that in that area. And if they don't, I don't expect the results to be any different. Alabama has 2 sophomores, a freshman, a junior, and a senior on their offensive line. And that offensive line got better as the season went by, and it made them much more potent on offense and allowed Milroe to do what he does. So it can happen, but they've got to find some guys up front on both sides of the ball, specifically on defense, in my opinion.
We got a couple of comments on YouTube, on Facebook Live, brought to you by Metal Law. Brandon says the frustrating part is Gator fans is we're told to be patient. This rebuild is going to take time. It's year 3 with no signs of improvement. Hard to rebuild when you lose your star players in recruiting. Now, I get it. But like I said, I played for the team. Everybody, pretty much everybody watching this show did not. They're just great fans. Yeah. Look, I've said this and I firmly believe it. And people can throw stones, daggers, whatever you want at me. Florida started playing football 123 years ago or something like that. We've really only had 18 good years.
Well,
Urban for 6 or for 12. We had a little bit here with Mullen, a little bit with McElwain, a little bit with Charlie Pell, a little bit with, but the facts are the facts. And I just look, I don't know what the answer is. I'm not here. It's not my job.
Well, you do know what the answer is. The answer is you got to find kids that can play up front and give the quarterback a chance. And give the team a chance to stop somebody. QB, there was just too many mistakes that were made in this 12 games we watched, and they have to be cleaned up.
I agree.
I'm almost like, get these players. Okay, great. This guy, that guy. But let's get better on the little things that allow teams to win games in close situations.
So 31 Ember on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says Jordan Seaton went to Colorado. Our coaches aren't doing shit on the trail, and Billy is. We don't know what they're doing. I don't know. Hell, they could be getting ready to sign some big wig today. We don't know. That's the thing. Jordan Seaton was the number 1 lineman from IMG. He went to Colorado. What a dumb move on his part. I'm serious.
Deion, I mean, somehow
he said, I think somebody sent me a tweet where he chose there because Deion's a Hall of Famer, has a gold jacket, and he wants a gold jacket. Well, you can get a gold jacket playing at freaking Furman. I mean, why he went to Colorado is not going to be even relevant next year at all.
Well, they'll be in the Big 12. I mean, they win 4 games this year? So
yeah,
or it was
but anyway, I mean, I don't care where the kid goes. I just think it's silly that he went there when he could have gone to Alabama or Georgia or Ohio. I mean, he could have gone anywhere he wanted to. He chose Colorado.
He still may end up there after he goes.
He'll go there 1 year and probably transfer out for more money.
There you go. There you go. I was surprised at all the players. I was surprised at all the players Ohio State saw leave get in the portal. That kind of surprised me a little bit. But.
Yeah. So, Shane, the bottom line is, despite your 18-year narrative, Billy is getting paid a ton as incompetent. Okay, I get all that, but every coach that we've had here, what I'm trying to say is, I don't know who the answer is or what the answer is. I'm just saying fans demean the players and the coaches when they had the success here. Does that make any sense at all, JC?
It's rare.
They act like you're just going to pick a name off a hat and he's going to come because it's the University of Florida. It's the brand that you're going to win. There's only 2 guys that have done that in 120-something years.
Right. No, but given the fans the benefit of the doubt, it just seems like one hire after the next.
But look at your school. There's 3 guys. There's only 3 guys.
Now, remember, QB, those 3 guys were at that school for a very long time, including the one.
But my point is, how long has Alabama played football? A long time. It's Bear Bryant, it's Gene Stallings for about 2 or 3 years, and it's Saban.
Yeah. Well,
if you look at Georgia, there's only 3 coaches that have had success. So that's not an excuse. That is just a fact. The answer, I don't know what the answer is. I know people are upset about ETN going in. Doesn't surprise me. It's all about money, people. And yes, does he want to win? I don't have a problem. I think you're going to see good players go to Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State. I've been saying this for ever since the NIL came about.
Yeah. Well, I've said my solution. I don't think anybody wants to hear it again, but I don't think it's a bad idea. And I don't think pulling out the newspaper or the phone and going, who are the hot names right now? Let's get them in town. That's not the answer. When Chip Kelly was interviewed and offered the job here, I thought to myself, what in the hell is that? And I don't agree with that.
But a lot of people probably wish they had Chip Kelly. That's the thing is, there's no right or wrong answer here because we don't know how it pans out.
That guy can't even win in Los Angeles, dude, where they got players. You can shake a tree and you get incredible athletes falling out of the tree. And there they are. And Chip Kelly, UCLA doesn't win anything. Look, I don't know. I think I've told you, I want former Gators to get jobs here. Why can't Brad Culpepper come back here and coach the offensive or the defensive line?
Because Brad Culpepper is making millions chasing ambulances.
Yeah. But he's got a staff. I mean, I don't know. I just think that there are guys that would want to do it if given the chance. I just do. I know I've said.
I don't know if that's JC.
You don't think
coaching is not what it used to be. I think you're
as
much as I love to coach, there is no way in the world I would coach college football at any dollar amount.
I mean, you might be right about that. I just have a theory that ex-players who were successful here would be good coaches here. That's what I believe.
Well, but some just because they played, I know a lot of good football players that couldn't coach a damn Pop Warner team.
You think Jerry Odom would do a good job?
Jerry would be very good. He's coached here before.
See, that's my point.
Yeah.
Is that
right? But that's not the problem. The problem are getting the players. The coaches don't play. Zach says on YouTube, Can we agree Lane Kiffin would at least change the momentum? We become hated again instead of laughed at. I do agree with that.
Oh,
But
100%.
again, Lane doesn't recruit people. Lane just does portals.
Well, who cares?
But I
At this
look,
point, who cares? I'll have a garage sale and say, I'm looking for a player. Anybody, I'll do a bake sale to find a player. Just get me some guys. Look, they are out there. QB, you said there were over 2,000 guys in the portal.
well, a lot of them ain't going to get signed. That's the thing.
Well, that's true, but there's got to be some hidden.
We have a lot of Gators that went to the portal that will not get signed by a team.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Rules Ogre State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visitogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. Speaking with JC on the Titan No More hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements.
Yeah.
When I say they're not going to get signed, they're probably not going to get signed by another Power 5 school.
Okay. Well, yeah. Now, do we even have a Power 5 anymore? I think the Pac-12 is gone.
Whatever.
Look, go ahead.
Let me answer some of these. Congratulations. I meant to say this at the top. Hawthorne won their back-to-back. It was a really good football game against Madison County.
They have. They got a dynasty there.
He does a tremendous job recruiting.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Drive through Hawthorne. There's not a whole lot to look at.
No, but what I'm saying is the majority of those kids aren't from Hawthorne. Is what I'm saying.
I get it.
Don says, if Spurrier had the energy and stamina to coach again, I'd take him in a heartbeat. What a difference in offense. Yeah, but he has zero interest in coaching, trust me.
No, not at his age, no.
Where was this one I wanted to read? Where'd it go? Here it is right here. Andy says, does that Gator-made program impact any of the players? Zero. That's just my personal opinion. It's great because it takes you around the world if you want to go study and visit, and it does tremendous things in the community. But players, I've told people this a million times, an athlete, and this is about 99.9% of the athletes that visit any school, they don't give a damn about your top 4, top 1, top 5 education. They don't care. That all they care about is your facilities used to be, but now it's all about money and can I get to the NFL? Now, getting to the NFL is hard because only a small percentage make it. But now it's all about how much money are you offering me? Like I told y'all, a lot of kids don't even come on a visit even to a game during the season unless he gets $5,000. Think about that.
Well, look, I think we heard from the NCAA this week, a number of 30,000 was thrown out there. Charlie Baker wants to create a situation where there's Charlie Baker is in charge of the NCAA. I'm not really even sure what the role of the NCAA is anymore, but the guy who's running it, who was a former governor of Massachusetts, is proposing, and this came out quietly, and Greg Sankey was not happy that he was not apprised of this before it was released publicly, that they're going to try to basically create a situation where there's revenue sharing, revenue sharing, which basically is turning this into the mini NFL. And we already kind of have that with free agency. And
we do, but there are no rules. That's the difference.
Right, but what that's going to do is if there's revenue sharing, then there would be collective bargaining, and then that would create a standard and a framework to create some guidelines and some rules, as you call it, and then we wouldn't have the wild west where they just throw out numbers and kids run to them. So I do think that'll happen. QB, it's hard. When this country was declared its independence in 1776, it was still many years of us looking at each other and pointing guns in duels. All right, they couldn't figure out how to govern. They couldn't figure out what freedom meant. They didn't really know. They just got out of King George's sphere of influence. So it takes time, unfortunately. And these guys have got to figure it out in a short period of time, or else it's going to get out of control. Now, some would say it's already out of control. I would say, listen, we had 19 some odd million people watching the Alabama game the other day. It's quite healthy. It's quite healthy. Let's just say that. So,
all right, let me read a bunch of these texts on the Titan Mar text line. It says, "Good morning, QB. At this point, I just want a head coach who hates our rivals and would do anything to beat them. We haven't had someone like that since Urban.
That's a
Kerwin or
former
Jed
player.
Fish would like you fit that. Look, I love Jed Fish, and he's done a phenomenal job at Arizona.
He's doing great there.
Jed has been fired probably 10 to 12 times in his career coaching.
Why would he leave a place where there is no pressure and he is considered
Yeah.
the king of the desert?
I agree.
No way he's leaving that to get into this quagmire. No chance.
And why come play in the SEC? Why come
He's gonna go.
in the
He's
SEC?
gonna go play in the Big 12 and fight for championships. That's what
All right. This is Michael from Tennessee. He says, if you enter the transfer portal, you are not a Gator, and especially not a Gator for life. Several of the players that entered the portal stated that they are Gators for life. If you are a Gator for life, you would be at the University of Florida. I agree with Stephen Harris. It's a slap in the face, not a Gator for life. I don't know what Stephen said, but I do agree with this. Okay. These silly ass messages that these kids put out there on Twitter that their publicist writes for them. Look, if you want to transfer, that is perfectly fine. If you want to go somewhere else and play, take the money, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But don't give me this BS that this last year was the greatest years of my life. God bless being a Gator. I'm a Gator. No, you're not. You're not. It's the same thing for if the Alabama guys. All these silly damn messages they put on here. Just put on here, I'm going to the transfer portal for more money or better opportunity. That's all you got to put. Don't put, I will always be this. That's bull crap. And if anybody disagrees with me, I don't care. That's how I feel because it's true.
Once they leave, who cares what they say? I mean, why did
but what I'm saying is they should not say, I want to thank this guy. No, bull crap. You're gone, buddy. That's for every school. Brian says, by the time they have rules in place, we will go through 2 or 3 coaches that have anything to do with it. Yeah. I mean, you never know. I don't know how long it's going to take them to do rules. So Joseph says they need to just grow a sack and tell the truth. They're leaving. They're leaving because they have no faith in the coach. I don't know about that. I mean, that's your opinion, and it could be true. But whether they believe in the coach, believe in the school, believe in going and taking more money somewhere else, just say it. But I don't know. And then what's even sillier, because somebody sent me one the other day, look at this. Then when the people leave, the fan base says, go be great. Go do your thing. Bull crap. Why would you say that? JC, let me ask you this. If Jalen Milroe decided to go in the portal, would you get on Twitter and go be great, Jalen? Go do your thing.
Well, I probably
no, it's stupid. He's leaving your school.
I mean, yeah, once he goes, he's no longer part of it. I didn't get upset, but I will say this, QB, and this is the truth. Alabama fans love Jalen Hurts.
Look, JC, I used him as an example. I'm not sitting here talking about that, but I promise you, what I'm saying is, if Jalen Milroe went into the portal after the national championship, whatever, or they lose to Michigan, Alabama fans ain't going to be loving him for leaving and trying to take money somewhere else.
But they do love Jalen Hurts. Okay, that's all I'm trying to tell you. And they do
because Jalen Hurts left because a guy beat him out. That's a different story.
Okay.
You're not understanding my point here.
No, I do understand your point. I mean, I think we'd be all just tragically disappointed, and we would say to ourselves,
Tim says y'all all hated Milroe after the 3rd game.
Oh no, listen, I'm not. Nobody's arguing that. Tim is correct. We were very uncertain of what this kid was capable of doing, but wasn't it fun to watch his progression and his development? I think Tommy Rees has to be considered one of the finalists for the Frank Broyles Award. By the way, who won the Frank Broyles Award? Do you know?
The guy that should have won it, the Iowa coach.
Oh, the defensive coordinator. Well, I think Bobo was getting a lot of votes. I think, and I know Tommy Rees had to get some votes. I mean, look at the way they've gotten better. Their offensive line dominated that game, and that was the furthest thing from my mind on Saturday. How are we going to beat Georgia? They hammered them, and I just think that you either get better or you get worse. QB.
Chris from Cottondale says, Shane, our problems are on the DL. How much is talent? How much is coaching? We're absolutely awful at defending gap schemes. In my opinion, that has to do with the technique and the talent. What's your thoughts? I don't really know enough about techniques. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you that I do. So here's what I will say. So the D-line coach that we fired just got hired at A&M. Okay.
Yeah. Mike Elko.
So maybe Mike Elko thinks he knows how to coach.
Yeah.
And then we got two guys going into the portal, Princely and McMillan from the D-line. So I don't know your answer. I don't know the answer to that. So it could be a combination of both. I just don't think we're very physical.
Right.
That you can't change a guy. You can't change a player's physicality. You can't.
Yeah. Well, one of your former favorite Gators is now playing for the Chicago Bears. Explain that to me.
Who's that?
Gervon Dexter.
Well, because he did really well at the combine. He's a big guy. Yeah, they're not real pleased with that. All right, Roy from DeLand. Shane, love your show. If Napier wanted you to be our OC, would you be interested? No. I think you'd be great and would be the closest resemblance coach for. I would. We would have a wide open attack and we would have fun, but I would only do that is if I can just coach football and do nothing else. But y'all would be calling JC's show, raising hell about me calling a double reverse or double pass or something. Promise you. I promise you.
That idiot, what's he doing?
Yeah.
I get it. I hear you. I mean, people were slamming Tommy Rees at the beginning of the year at Alabama. They were killing him. They were killing him every weekend. Our offense sucks. And now he's, Frank Broyles finalist. But listen,
I'm pretty sure Frank Boyle's award went to the Iowa defensive coordinator.
Oh, no, I know. But I'm sure Tommy Rees got a lot of votes. He had to. Otherwise, nobody's watching. But listen, man. He's got time to fix this. We'll see if hopefully we'll get some incoming names that will excite people, but that's something you have to wait for, I suppose. I mean, there's nothing you can sit around and guess all day.
Okay, so this text here on the Titan More text line: worst day ever. Kids want to win. Princely, Etienne, McClellan got to retain your players. Trevor Etienne received 15 or more carries in just 11 appearances.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to tell you right now, if he goes to another one of the big Power 5 schools, he's not going to get any more carries because everybody plays multiple tailbacks. Those are good players. Etienne's a very, very good football player. Mm-hmm. But like I told you, if we had to use his money towards 2 offensive linemen, I'm making that trade.
Yeah, well, they need it. Yeah.
But I don't know what's happening.
I don't disagree. I see that they have to get better up front before anything else can work. That's not.
Yeah. Ed wants to know here. Do you know anything about the rumors of Coach O coming to Coach D? I've heard that. I've asked a couple of people, and they said that's just a rumor. That ain't happening.
Yeah, that's not happening.
But it could. I don't know. I like I said, I don't get caught up in all this stuff because
I don't either.
Yes, we talk about it on my show. People, that's what makes sports radio, sports podcasts go. But there's nothing I can do about it. It's
just a guessing game. It's just a guessing game, and you're just throwing stuff up against the wall at this point. They are so. One thing I heard. Who's the writer from Orlando that I like? Edgar. Yeah. One of the things Edgar said was they are so quiet over there. Things are so secretive. And I guess there's a big reason for that, but it's hard to get information, even if you're a beat writer. My God. But it wasn't that way in your day, dude. In your day, we would show up on Tuesdays and we'd have the mics flowing and guys would come out to talk. It was a free-for-all. But it is like lockdown central. And I don't know. I don't think that's good. I think the more you get publicity, I don't think publicity is a bad thing. And the more you get talked about, the better things can be, not worse. And for some reason, these guys just shut the door. They shut it down. It'd be hard.
Right, here's the last thing, and we're going to get to Matt Murschel and get his thoughts on the national perspective. Michael on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, says, "Good morning. I understand the UAA is somewhat separate from the school, but how much influence does the school have on the UAA? Just seems you don't hear much from the UF administration." I don't know the answer to that.
I got no. Again, everything is so locked down. It's so quiet, and everything's a great secret. But I would think there is some influence, of course. I think anytime you wear the F, you're part of the same thing, the collective, in some sort of way. And I think they've got to get an identity. They have to get an identity. And they need to be talked about. That means get information out there and publicize things. You have to sell this program. If you don't sell it, you're going to get the same results. Simple as that. So we'll see if he's a good salesman.
Andy North, I don't know if it's Andy North, the golfer, chiming in on the program, but Andy says, just joined in the chat. Did you see that they are willing to pay Marvin Harrison Jr. 20 to 25 million to come? That's not factual. Why would you pay a college kid for 1 year $25 million? That's the craziest thing I ever heard.
Who's willing to pay that? Who's he talking about?
I guess he says Ohio State's collective, but there's no way that's true. The NFL quarterbacks don't even make that.
You don't even know who the quarterback's going to throw the ball to him. Oh yeah, let's give this guy $20 million, and we still don't know who the trigger guy is going to be. That's just common sense has to take over at some point. That's why you got to blow all this noise away. But QB, listen, I hope that things turn around. Obviously, we want happy people around here, and let's see.
Well, look, I want us to win too, but I don't stress about it. So
okay.
Well, all right, JC, have a good weekend. Good luck to Army. I'll take Navy, and we'll see what happens. That's JC Joyce on the Titan Number Hotline. We're going to take a quick time out. Come back. We'll be joined by Matt Murschel talking this crazy college portal NIL mess. You're watching and listening to PodUp Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Campus USA, put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, watch. Duffield Home Improvements for your window, siding, and roofing needs. Radware, your local provider of promotional products, uniforms, and apparel. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Radware, F45, Quality Plumbing. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Q Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Silverback Concrete's a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that build commercial structure with unrivaled quality. Silverback Concrete, you stand on it, we stand by it. Going to head to the Titan Number Hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements, and we're joined by Matt Murschel, national writer for the Orlando Sentinel, covering college football. Good morning, Matt. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you doing this morning, Shane?
Good. Let's start with the transfer portal. Obviously, Gator fans are upset. I get it. I told them to try to not stress about it. Kids want to win. We get that. But there's going to be a lot of people that enter this transfer portal that do not find jobs. Their careers are over. There's going to be a lot of guys that come from Power Fives that go into the portal that end up playing at MAC schools or Division II, whatever, the FCS schools. In your opinion, what needs to be done to regulate this thing, because it is out of control?
Yeah, I think that one of the bigger issues comes down to NIL and name, image, and likeness. Just how that's kind of put forward. How whether or not it's going to be the government that steps in and regulates it, whether it's going to come down to conferences themselves, whether we're going to do this new super conference or whatever that the NCAA now is proposing. It's going to come down to what schools and what these collectives can offer kids, because that's really what's enticing a lot of the players to jump in the portal. Is this idea of, okay, there's a big payday at the end of the rainbow, and someone's going to offer me, I see a quarterback making, $1.5 million through an NIL deal, and I can make that. I know I'm just as good as that guy. I'm going to make that. Well, you may not be considered that high, accountable, that they really want to go after you for that. So that's where you're right. You're going to see a lot of these players in the portal aren't going to find homes, and a lot of them are going to end up going places that they thought they weren't going to go. They thought that there was going to be a payday maybe at a Power 5 school or a school that's a top 25 program, and it's not going to happen. And I get it for some guys. I mean, you were at school, you played for a couple of years, maybe you want to go somewhere else. And I get the idea that maybe you've been on a bench somewhere and you feel like there's an opportunity somewhere else, but there's a lot of guys who are going to go in this thing and they just aren't going to find those happy endings. And I think that's something that's really kind of been a negative impact on the portal itself.
Yeah, I think something they have to do with just using the Florida kids, for example. If you got to, like, whatever your NIL agreement is, I don't know if it's year to year, month to month. I don't know anything about any of that stuff, but they got to start putting in there, maybe you got to stay here for 2 years, or if you leave, you got to pay your money back. I don't know, something. It's a mess. I know there's no loyalty. I was just raising hell on my show, Matt, because I don't have a problem with kid leave. If a kid wants to leave, that's fine. Go play, get your money, whatever you want to do. But all this nonsense about, oh man, I'm a Tiger for life and I'm a Gator for life and I'm a bull crap. Get your ass out of here and don't come back. You know. So anyway, that's how I feel about it. We had somebody on here ask a question. Is there going to be a lawsuit from Florida State?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, listen, I've been telling people this for weeks. I mean, I know when politicians step in, their idea is everything's about let's sue somebody. Let's find a way to do this. But as I point out to everyone, the college football playoff is run by these schools. It's run by Florida State. It's run by Florida. It's run by, they was created by the schools themselves and the presidents and the athletic directors. I mean, it's not like this is an entity that's on it amongst itself, that's created by another group of people, has nothing to do with college sports. So the idea of suing it is almost like suing yourself. You agreed to this when you agreed to take part in the college football playoff, good or bad. So I don't see that there's any way that you could sue the playoff and not almost, it's at some point you're basically saying, we ourselves made the mistake, and everyone agrees to that when they set forward with the idea of playing in the playoff. I mean, there's nothing there that makes you have to be a part of the playoff. I mean, if you don't want to participate, you don't have to, so to speak. But no one's going to say no, right? I mean, no one's going to go, no, I'm not going to deny myself the opportunity to play for a national championship. So I just don't think this is going to happen. And I mean, I understand Florida State fans being upset. I understand, the idea of if this doesn't work, we've got to have a way to come back from this. I think more than anything, what needs to happen outside of a courtroom is just more about accountability. Showcase why you chose these four teams, why you chose Alabama and Texas over Florida State, and quit talking in generalities. Give us an idea of exactly what's going on. And that's just something the playoffs, since they started in 2014, they've never been able to do. They always talk in generalities, especially when they're on ESPN and, the chairman's talking. I mean, he never is going to give you exactly why they decided to do rank what teams what. So I just don't think a lawsuit's going to work. And I don't think Florida State eventually is going to do it. I know the politicians are pushing it, but I just don't think that's something that's going to end up eventually happening.
Radware is a family-owned business that prides itself in excellent customer service while providing quality and affordable promotional products and customized apparel. Speaking with Matt Murschel from the Orlando Sentinel. Sticking with the playoffs, okay, we had 5 Power 5s. Matt, I want your question. I believe I'll give you my answer. So let's say all 5 Power 5 conference champions were undefeated at the end of the year. I still think the ACC would have been left out, even with Jordan Travis, because the conference, their strength of schedule, whatever, was not very good. Am I crazy to think that, or am I wrong?
No, I mean, I think, if they had 5 undefeated conference champions and they sat down, then you start really getting into, picking up different points, why these, whoever gets left out or who is put in. And you'd have to point out, strength of schedule, how they performed on the field, who they faced, if they faced any common opponents. I mean, I went through a mock with the playoff committee about 4 or 5 years ago in Dallas, and that's kind of the points they try to do is to say, here are once we get past okay, now we know who we have. It's all about these little, style points, when it gets down to it. And again, I think what people tend to forget is it's not like the BCS with the computers. It's not that kind of, get down to the actual, decimal points. It gets down to the point of, eye tests, and that's what I think fans get upset about. Is like, they want to know, exactly why teams are picked. I think Florida State's issue is the fact that the ACC was very weak. Think about it. When the season started, the ACC had about 5 or 6 teams ranked. At the end of it, it wasn't the case. You look at who was left out, and it was a very weak conference. What gets Florida State fans upset is the idea that they won their conference, and you're looking at a 1-loss Texas and a 1-loss Alabama, and you feel like you should be above them. I mean, listen, I felt like before the weekend, I felt like Florida State had a really great chance of getting in. But again, chaos happened. Alabama did what people were saying needed to happen for them to try to get in. And then you throw in Texas, which played really well. So it was going to be a really difficult ranking no matter what. And now the committee could say, okay, that's fine. You didn't agree with us. Well, now we're going to 12 teams next year, and all that's going to go out the window. And I think that is kind of sort of the case. I think once they get to 12, now they're at 12, you're not going to see as much nitpicking when it comes to who's where they are.
We got a text on the Titan Tomorrow text line from Jack from DC. He says, Matt, do you think Billy Napier makes it through next year?
I think he does if they don't have something catastrophic happen. If they don't lose, 4 or 5 games in a row or something like that, or if they have to look like they're improving. I always believe that when a coach gets to year 3, you have to look like if you're showing improvement. And if you're doing the same things and you're having the same issues, if there's still dumb mistakes on the play, if you get 13 men on the field, 12 men on the field when you're not supposed to. I mean, those are the kind of issues, especially late in the season. Those are the kind of issues that you start to think, okay, well, maybe this just isn't working. They're really working out. And I also think if you start to really lose, if you really lose the fan base and you really lose the recruiting trail, if you start seeing recruits really not wanting to sign and more willing to commit somewhere else, then you really got to start to make a move. I mean, I still think Billy deserves another year. I think he needs a chance to try to see what's going on out there. It's just going to be really difficult. The schedule's tough. Recruiting is what it is. And you look at the portal and as we talked about just earlier, I mean, you're losing, top guys. Now you got to find top guys in the portal to be able to replace them with.
Question for you here. 14 playoff. Who's Matt Murschel got winning at all?
Wow. I think I'm going to say Alabama. I mean, I'm going to put Alabama in there. I think right now Nick Saban has done an amazing coaching job in the way he's been able to flip, Alabama to the way they played. I know that Michigan game is going to be tough. It's going to be a hard-fought game, low-scoring game, defensive game. But if they get past Michigan, obviously you've got Texas and you've got Washington, high-scoring teams. I think Alabama finds a way to get past it. I mean, you can't push the fact that Nick Saban has been there so many times and won it before.
I agree with that. Let me ask you about Michigan. Is it because I think some reports came out yesterday that they're trying to restructure a new deal for Jim Harbaugh where he'll be making over $11 million. I guess he'll be the highest paid coach in America. Does that surprise you with all the craziness going on at Michigan?
Yeah, it actually really does. And I think some of that is Michigan worried that Jim Harbaugh is going to leave to the NFL. That there's a lot of speculation that this year was really tough on him, and maybe he's just tired of dealing with all that and he wants to leave. I think it surprises me. I mean, Michigan must have done enough of their own investigation to believe that whatever happened with the sign stealing situation, that Jim Harbaugh had nothing to do with it or knew nothing about it. Because there's no way you could give a guy $11 million a year if you don't think the guy has done something wrong. Now I told someone yesterday who texted me about it, was surprised. I said, I will guarantee no matter what, there's going to be a clause in his contract that says something to the effect of, if you do something untoward, like if we find out something like this happened, we have a right to void your contract and we don't owe you anything, because if you're not, you're a dumb, that's a dumb AD thing to do, not to put a clause like that in there, because the NCAA is still investigating this. And at some point they could come out and say, we've got enough evidence to drop the hammer on him. So this to me is a little surprising. I mean, I think it's fine if they wanted to give an extension, but to give him $11 million a year and make him the highest paid coach after everything that's gone on this year, he was suspended for 6 games. I mean, when's the last time you can think of had a coach missing half the season and still being, rewarded with a giant contract? I mean, it's insane to me. So I mean, again, Michigan either must believe that he has something that says he's not guilty, and that's why they're moving forward with it. Otherwise, this is just a really bizarre move.
Yeah, it is crazy. 1966 HBC beers available at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, Gator Games in the O-Dome, and select retail outlets. Crisp American Lager 1966 HBC beer. A few more minutes here with Matt. Question on the Titan of our text line from Jack. He says, Matt, if you were in charge of the Florida Gator football program and we did get rid of Billy Napier, who would you hire?
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, I think Scott Strickland's probably wanting to know that as well. I mean,
yeah,
I mean that's a tough move, because you've gone in different directions already. You've tried to bring in an established coach. When you look at a guy like Dan Mullen, you brought in Billy, who was a kind of a disciple of Nick Saban, and people have had success with that. I mean, I'm not sure what's the next route. I mean, you try to go after a young guy, and maybe an up and comer that you feel like can make that move. But I think the challenge with that is, again, you need someone who can flip a program, who can come in and from bottom to top, make things kind of the right way. And I'm kind of at a loss right now to think about that. I mean, Jamie Chadwell, what he's done at Coastal Carolina, what he's done at Liberty, guy who's young, who's done some things like that. I mean, might be a name you'd hear out there as well. But again, it's finding the right fit. I just think right now they just haven't found the right fit. And I think the other thing too is that, and I was talking about this with someone, nothing against, I like Billy. I've talked to Billy a couple times, and I think Billy's personality sometimes just rubs people the wrong way. And it's a little bit of that Saban thing where, it's just, he's very businesslike and very methodical. And I think people want passion, and they want guys to say things that are really like, yeah, get them right. You think about what Spurrier was like. Spurrier would get to the podium and say things, and everyone, the media would laugh and chuckle, and there were great quotes, and everyone loved that. I mean, I almost think people want that kind of personality in their coach, and it's hard to find anymore these days. I mean, I'm dealing with Gus Malzahn and at UCF. I mean, and Gus is the same way. Once the camera's on, he's very businesslike, and so it can be tough. And I think that's where I think Florida fans sometimes want someone to show a little bit of passion. It's tough to find those kind of guys.
Yes, UCF, they're going to a bowl game, as is USF, I believe. I think they made a bowl game. Do you see that rivalry getting back now to where it was? Because I know UCF kind of dominated them for a long time.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, they I know USF's schedule is set through 2030, so there's nothing at this point that they've been able to talk about. I don't think UCF really kind of wants it to start this thing up again. I mean, I think they feel like they've moved on. They've gone to the Big 12. They want to play good opponents. And I think that the thought is, if we go back and play these guys, then we're playing a group of 5 school, and it's stepping down a little bit. So this has been a very bitter rivalry, and I think a lot of people don't understand outside the state of Florida that for a long time USF was, when they went to the Big East, they denied UCF a chance to get in there for a couple of years, and UCF remembers that very much, and so they really want no part of like USF unless somehow they find a way into the Big 12. So I don't think so. It's not in the near future. I think they feel like they've got enough going on moving to the Big 12.
With the Big 12, I mean, you cover UCF. Was it hard on the program with the travel, the new schedule, bumping up and playing tougher opponents? Was that difficult on them this year?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, they had 6 road games, and I don't know about them. I mean, I was beat. I mean, covering 6 road games. I went to Boise, week 2, and you're in Kansas twice, and you're in Lubbock, Texas, and I think towards the end, I think I caught up with them. I think what really kind of impacted them is they felt like they had enough depth to handle moving up to a Power 5 conference, and I really don't think they did. I think you could see the difference. They played against Kansas in the middle of the year, and I remember at the start of that game thinking, man, Kansas's offensive line, their players were much bigger and much stronger. And they were pushing UCF's defenders around. And I thought that's where UCF really needs to make that adjustment. I think all the newcomers that got to the Big 12 found this out. You need to start recruiting and developing bigger guys, and you need enough depth that you can pull guys out and switch them out without having much of a drop off. And I think that's where they really struggle, and I think that's what they're trying to do this in the portal now is they're trying to find bigger, stronger guys because they realize this is big boy football now, and they're starting to get to that point where they're the littlest thing can kind of really change things. I mean, in the American, you could another thing is turnovers. In the American, you could turn the ball over one or two times in a game and you could still win the game. In a Power Five conference, you can't turn the ball over. If you turn the ball over, just one mistake here or there, and you're done. And I think that's what UCF found out.
Yeah. Matt, last thing for you, Heisman Trophy. Is that awarded this Saturday night or is it next Saturday night?
It's this Saturday.
Yeah. So. Are you a voter?
Yes, I am.
All right. I know you can't tell us who you voted for, but I've said on my show, whoever does not vote for Jaden Daniels should lose their votes. I think what he did this year was just remarkable. I was not fortunate, but I called the game where he did something nobody in the history of football has ever done. How do you see this thing playing out Saturday night?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what's going to have to come down to is who voted late. I mean, I'm one of those guys that votes on the Monday. I voted on Monday right after the championship weekend. There are a lot of voters who vote early on, and I think a lot of that's going to come down to, as a voter, do you look at the fact that the guys who played in the conference championships, or do you look at the overall, kind of what the performances were? And I agree. I think you saw what Jaden did against Florida, and you think, wow, I mean that's outstanding. Those are moments that I think I call Heisman moments that really kind of catch your eye and think about that. So I think he's definitely going to be one of the top, the top two. I think Michael Penix and Bo Nix, struggled in their championship game, nothing great, and I think that's going to be considered as well. So, and as much as I thought Marvin Harrison Jr. had a great year, wide receivers winning the Heisman are just so far and few, that you have to almost have that unbelievable year.
The kid at LSU had a better year than Marvin Harrison did.
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors.
Yeah. So, and you have, and it's not just being a receiver. I mean, think about in the past, guys who've won it have also been like special teams and done other things like that. So I'm not sure if he's got to have much of a chance. So I think it's going to come down to Jaden and Michael Penix, and I think it's just going to be who really thinks had the better year. And it's tough. I mean, considering that Jaden didn't have that extra game, it wasn't playing a conference championship. The LSU had kind of a little bit of I won't say down year, but nowhere near what people thought. So it's just going to come down what the voters think that deserves the best chance.
Matt, appreciate your time, buddy. Let everybody know how they can follow you on Twitter and read your work.
Yeah, they can follow me at OS Matt Murschel, or they can follow me on Twitter at OrlandoSentinel.com. Obviously, lots of stuff with the transfer portal, and it never ends, and then the bowl games this year.
Good stuff as always. Appreciate your time, bud.
Thanks.
That's Matt Murschel. Join us on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline, courtesy of Duff Hill Home Improvements. Let's get to This Day in Sports, which is brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union. This day in both 2007 and 2018, the Heisman Trophy went to Tim Tebow and Kyler Murray from Oklahoma. That all happened on This Day in Sports. For some reason, I thought the Heisman Trophy was next Saturday, but it's this Saturday. I think Jaden Daniels does not win this award. It is a joke. I mean, Michael Penix should come in second, in my opinion, and then everybody else is just. I don't know. I didn't think Bo Nix had a great year. I mean, he did okay, but anyway, that's my 2 cents. I appreciate everybody commenting. We had a ton of questions and comments today. I can't get to all of them, but look, it's not great, but there's nothing we can do about it. Just stay positive if you can, and hopefully something good will happen. But I'm dead serious about these damn messages these kids send out. That's just how I feel. Y'all may feel differently, but if you're on Twitter, do not tell the guys to go be great. And you can maybe say good luck, but they're gone. See ya. And we will see ya on Monday, folks. Have a great weekend. See you then. We'll recap the weekend. Take care.